Hey guys, my name's Evan Morgan, and on today's studio case studies, we're going to be taking a first look at Galaxy drum samples by Space Cabin Audio. Galaxy drum samples were recorded in a beautiful studio called Bluewave Studios in my hometown of Vancouver, BC. The reason I thought this would be an interesting case study for you guys is about a week after the Space Cabin Audio crew had finished recording their samples in Bluewave, I went into the room to record some real drums with a band called Incura. We recorded in the same room with a lot of the same mics, same preamps, same board, same EQs. I thought it would be interesting to take a look at how our real drums turned out and compare them to the Space Cabin Audio Galaxy drum samples. Just a little backstory on the Incura project. We did all the pre-production on V-drums, recording MIDI, using another drum sampler to get our sounds. We recorded all the guitars, all the bass, all the keepers, and then we re-recorded the drums for real in Bluewave Studios. So we have this really good MIDI map that we can use to trigger Galaxy drums, and then we can compare them to the real drums that we recorded in the same room. With that, let's dive into the session. So I just wanted to say, this isn't meant to be samples versus real drums kind of video. It's not supposed to be a real drums are always going to sound better than samples, or if you have samples, you don't need to record real drums, nothing like that. I thought it was a cool opportunity to take a look at some really good quality samples with some well-recorded drums, both in the same space, using the same room, using a lot of the same mics. I thought it would just be an interesting comparison. So let's dive in. I've made a little session here so we can compare the drums. This blue track is the real drums that we recorded for the record. This is the drum stem. So all of the drum channels bounce down when we were mixing into a stem. I also have here in pink a music stem, an instrumental stem. No drums, no vocals. So put these together and that's essentially what the record sounds like. So let's give that a quick listen and see how this sounds. Cool. So up here in orange, I have the Galaxy drums. Now Galaxy drums are powered by the Accent drum player. This is a drum VI, probably looks similar to other drum samplers that you've used. It's got a really cool layout. It's got some really cool features in there. You can see we loaded in a few drum samples, snare, toms, and those inputs will get populated across our mixer here. And then we can mix them very similar to how I would mix real drums on a real record. It has its own internal effects, which I'm using a little bit. Just a little bit of a boost on the top end there for the kick. A little bit of boost on the low end for the snare. You can also bring in your own effects, which is a very unique thing for this. I've never really seen this in its own plugin. So you can use your external effects. I'm just using the internal effects now because they're actually really good. So let's give that same passage a listen with our MIDI performance here, triggering Galaxy drums. Nice, sounds great. So you can hear, I'm going to do a quick A-B. So we'll start with the real drums and we'll switch back and forth. Galaxy drums. Real drums. Galaxy drums. So the cool thing about this is even though these are two completely different drum sets, completely different players, because they were recorded in the same room with the same preamps, you do hear how they kind of relate to each other. They do have some of the same coloration in the room tones especially. So let's break that down really quick. Now, when we mixed this record, we used a lot of hardware, we used external stuff, so that's why we've been listening to the drum stem. I did bring in the raw tracks here from the session. It's not going to sound exactly the same just because we don't have our hardware, but at least it'll give you an idea of what we have. So we recorded a lot of mics on this session. Let's mute these and listen to these here. So there's our kick, 3 mics, kick in, kick out, kick sub. We have a kick in, kick out, and a sub kick. Now the Galaxy drums were recorded only with 2 mics, an in kick and an out kick, which sounds a little more like our sub kick. So you put those together. And the real kick. So with the close mics, the sounds aren't going to be as similar because we're close miking different drums. The Incura project, we use Casey drums with Evans heads, and the Galaxy drums use Gretsch and Donette shells with Remo heads. So they're going to sound very different. The kicks are going to sound different. The snares are going to sound different. But what I'm interested in is how the overheads in the room sound. So let's take a look at the real overhead track. And now if we can listen to the overheads in the Galaxy drums. You can hear the difference in the drums, but the room character itself does have a very similar vibe, which is very cool. So let's do the same thing for the rooms. We did a 5 mic room setup. We did a stereo pair of U87s, a stereo pair of 414s, and a mono room mic. And altogether, they gave us this sound. Now, the accent room mics sound like this. Very cool, very good room sound. So let's go back to our final mix of our drums, our drum bus there, and let's just do a quick A/B here. And we'll do it with the music again one more time. Here are the real drums. And here are Galaxy drums. Nice. So, Galaxy drums are currently in beta testing. The full product should be releasing soon. I'm not affiliated with the company in any way. They're not paying me to say that they like their samples. I just do. I think they're wicked. I think they sound awesome. I think they've captured some really good tones, especially the room tones. They've captured an essence of a room that I love and I love working in, and I've worked in the past. And I think their samples sound true to real drums recorded in that space. I hope you guys like this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Leave me some comments down below about what you'd like to see. My name is Evan Morgan, and I'll see you in the next studio case study.